Let's watch podcast and chill, people.
They look fake. Oh.
The Swedish company Stockholm Precision Tools is the leader in the development and production of various types of north-seeking gyro instruments based on solid-state technology. A milestone of modern engineering, SPT gyro tracer is the industry's most reliable ultra precise gyro tool. This is it, the only gyro instrument in the world capable of continuously measuring at all angles, at virtually any location on the planet. It generates centimeter by centimeter data points in vertical, directional, and horizontal boreholes. Its rugged solid-state design, in combination with patent
We're still coming at you live in LA. Soft Panduka is here, Ghost Lady is here.
Whoop, whoop.
And today, fortunately, there were no production wars, so it's going to be a good episode.
Corey's the guy, right? The war guy. Someone is Palestine, someone is Israel. But they're all on the same team. We make peace before they even make peace.
I'm Palestine.
You're Palestine.
Yeah, I'm Palestine. I don't want to be
We stand with you, man.
right.
Fuck war, right?
Oh yeah, fuck war. Yeah. That's why they had to cease fire.
Yeah.
Please welcome also a special guest in the building.
Yeah.
Denim Rich is a big actor. You've been acting for like 20 years, right?
Yeah,
And
wow,
you-
long time.
The last thing you did is Yellowstone, yeah?
Still doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Like
Hell yeah.
I'm going back tomorrow to film.
yeah.
So we're still happening.
How many seasons of that show have you done? Or how many seasons
Well,
are there?
We're at 5, so I've done all 5.
Oh, hell yeah.
So since 2017. Yeah.
So the crazy thing about Denim is that he was born in LA
yeah.
and then he moved to, well, he's in between Botswana and South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I love it.
Why did you choose to do that though?
There was time for a change. I mean, so dad's from Nigeria. So the natural fit was everybody thought maybe I would go to Nigeria.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe there's a different opportunity in Southern Africa. And so I just, I bought a one-way ticket actually after one of the seasons of Yellowstone. I bought a one-way ticket. And the first place that I went into was Botswana. Hung out for a little bit and I was like, it's not bad here. It's very relaxing. Botswana, it's 2.6 million people, 2.5 million people in the whole country. So it's very, very relaxing. I mean, there's more people in one area in Santon than there probably is in the whole country. And, kind of settled in and then kind of branched out from there. And so now I go back and forth between Botswana and SA.
Wow, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
And then Corey, so Corey, he owns the podcast studio we're shooting at. We met him the other day. And so you're an engineer, right?
I'm an engineer. So yeah, I started off in music and then that wasn't paying me enough money and more people were paying me to do video stuff. And so that's kind of like, I made it out to LA and now I do video stuff. And I meet cool people in my day-to-day.
How many famous podcasts have you shot yet?
I don't know. Tons. Maybe like famous, maybe like 20 that like larger,
Like who?
millions of plays. I don't know, Stephen A. Smith,
Oh, Stephen A. Smith. Yeah.
Bunny,
Wow.
Bunny XO, fucking who else shoots here? like housewives, reality stars, everything. Lakers, everyone comes in here. Football players. It's kind of just like
It's a good location.
you never
too.
know who's coming to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's right in Hollywood.
It's
You know,
perfect
right off the
location,
sign.
right
you
off the
know.
hall. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Did you hear you didn't mention us and we asked
I
you?
was literally about to say. I was trying to give him the space to be like, but you guys are definitely. And it just never came. It just like tapered off to like the hills, the freeway. And we're like, somewhere in there, there'll be this. But we never got there.
I told some people that I was doing this that I had done the
right,
show.
right, yeah,
Well, no, because I told some people because I don't pay attention to stuff. You know? So I never know who I'm talking to or who came in. It kind of makes his job easier.
Yeah.
But I told some people, I was like, I was working on podcast and chill, and they were like, oh, the Africans. I was like, yeah.
Like,
That's the reputation.
Yeah, the giant country of Africa. And so many people over here in the United States thing.
Right.
And
So upsetting.
we wanted to have Corey on the show because after we shot our podcast, we started engaging and talking to Corey.
Yeah.
And we found out that like there's so many stigmas out there between Africans and Americans.
insane.
Yeah,
And we wanted
yeah.
to squash all that and just have a frank conversation.
Okay.
Right.
So we're like, the whole time while we're talking, we're like, yo, this is fucking
Yeah, what are we
content,
doing?
bro.
Why not have a conversation about it?
For
Yeah.
example, we asked him, he's paying about $4,000
Oh.
rents, right?
My rent is $2,000.
$2,000. And we're like, dude, do you know where you could live?
Well, you could get that if you're living in SA.
Yeah.
Bro, that's
And I live in such it's not a shithole, but it's really not the best.
how many square feet? Like, so
I mean, like 900. It's
so
pretty
that's like, okay, so 80 square meters.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's like
for
a-
2,000.
big. Yeah, it's like
How
a
many
one bedroom.
bedrooms?
One bedroom, no parking, no in-unit washer dryer, no stainless steel, no, not a lot of stuff. No pool, no balcony.
Yeah, just
Where do you park your car?
None of that
on the
stuff.
street.
On the street.
Oh.
They just park on the street.
Or you pay another $150 a month for a slot.
Gee.
Right.
And nobody else can park there. It's your
No,
park.
Then it's your parking.
Oh, then it's your, if you pay.
If
it's your
you pay
parking.
the $150, you can have a parking spot. Then it's yours.
And so what if I just pull up, like I'm here to see
Ticket.
my girlfriend and I just park?
No, ticket.
Oh no, if it's in a private spot, you'll get towed.
Ticket, you'll get towed.
You'll get towed.
Oh.
When I was living, so I haven't been back to LA like 5 years. It's like my first time like being in the valley in this area. Because usually when I come back to the U.S., I don't go any further than New York, and that's never come over here. And so I remember when I was living here in North Hollywood, I didn't have any money. Right. And so I would always end up parking on the street, and I always get a ticket because I had expired tags because I couldn't afford to get my tags on my car. So I just rack up parking tickets, and the parking ticket was like $88.
A pop.
Right, a pop.
Yeah. Then
And
they
I
double
think
after, they
4
double
months-
after like
after
2-3 weeks.
Yeah, and then after a minute, like maybe a month, then they just tow your car.
Right.
And it's like $300 for the moment they tow your car. Then the moment it lands at the towing place where they drop your car off, it's now like $400 or $500.
Whoa.
So you have to pay all of your parking ticket fees, right?
Plus
and then
the
with
tow
on top,
fees.
yeah.
Just to get your car
Just
back.
to get your car back, but you still got to get the tags, right? So like, yeah, it's insane.
And there's a ticket on your shit when you get it back.
100%.
There's definitely
It's a racket.
a $89 ticket on your.
It's a
windshield.
racket.
How are you surviving like when you didn't have money in North Hollywood? Or is North Hollywood not
No,
fancy?
you don't survive. People hustle. Like I think people like hustle. Everyone
they
has
got
like
30
seven.
jobs.
They have 7 to 8 jobs. Like
Yeah.
it's like you would go. So like the way that I used to do it was I would go try to like audition for a project during the day, and then you would be a waiter, right? You would do like waiter. So like there's a famous saying like here, especially back in the day, if you were in LA. They would be like, oh, I'm an actor. The first thing that they would say is like, what restaurant do you work at? That's like the thing. Like, it's just well known that like, bro, everybody here is trying to be an actor. It's not
Yeah.
special.
Right.
And so you're usually doing that. You try to be a waiter because it's flexible, right? And then before, what I was doing, they didn't have Uber. They didn't have any of that stuff. So there's other thing like atmosphere acting, like background acting, right? So you know, like you're watching a movie and you see like the people crossing in the background.
Extras,
Extras.
yeah.
Extras,
Oh,
extras.
okay.
So then I did that, right? I did that as well.
You're an extra.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. That was a minute. But everyone used to tell me you'll never be like the moment that I signed on to like I don't want to even give them the plug because they fired me. But there's a casting office here. I was going to say casting office is a little bit too true, but it was like a place you go be background.
Right.
They sign you up and they book you whatever, and then they used to tell me like if you go and do background, you'll never be a real actor. I'm like, bro, how am I going to pay my bills? Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. So everybody has these different iterations. You can background, do this. Now you can do Uber and Postmates and all these other things, but it's hard. I don't know how people can do it out here because the industry is so much smaller now.
I did
don't know how
thing
you
where
make it.
they pay you to like do surveys and stuff. So you go in and you do like something for Samsung, and they ask you questions for an hour and a half, and like they'll pay you like $125 to go do stuff like that. It's like it's just
But
like
if you're thinking about
fills in the
it
gap.
feels like it's a lot of money, but out here, when you're looking at how much everything costs, it doesn't do anything. Right? Like if you're taking like, make 500 here, back, if you put from 500 to Rand or to Pula, you're like, bet, that's a lot. But out here, everything is so expensive. A glass of wine is $22.
Yeah,
it's true.
You guys know, right? So it's like, when you're doing that back in SA, you can get a really nice bottle of wine for $22 US.
Bro, I bought a beer for 200 rands.
You see?
I'm drinking every single drop out of this one.
100%.
I'm licking the shit.
I want all my Rand words. So it's hard. It's really, really challenging. Yeah, but it is what it is.
Here's what I wanted to understand, right? You guys say you gotta have like 6, 7 jobs, right?
Yeah.
To make it out here to pay the bills. But when you have like 6, 7 jobs, how much money are you making, bro?
Not that much.
Surely that, bro.
I mean, like, it's like your 6, 7 jobs. In LA, I was doing a podcast with someone. She said that you need $2,000. I think the numbers may be closer to like 7.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a survey that was done in California, because obviously that's the state that we're in, where it said that if you make less than $88,000 a year, then you're in poverty. No, you're in you're in poverty. So that means like you qualify for like government subsidy.
You know the bread line,
So but imagine $88,000 in Botswana, and virtually anywhere in Africa.
Anywhere on the planet.
$88,000. You're like, you have your chef, you have your driver, you're like,
maybe not a chef.
Yeah, you have a chef. Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, we got you.
You gotta get that.
We're going to Island, and that's actually the home of Jameson. Say word. We want these guys to connect, collaborate, make some new music.
Damn, man.
Sure. Not a chef. Yeah, you're right. No chef.
Let him cook.
Yeah. But so it's hard. It's hard to make money because also the jobs are not like salary jobs, right? These are things that you're kind of like an independent contractor for, right? Like so if you're doing Uber, you have to go to work all the time in order for them to pay you. You don't get time off, right? So it's like these are independent contracting jobs. So it's really hard, and a lot of them are based on tips, right? So it's really, really hard to make a really strong living. And if you're in entertainment, the average artist comes out here from anywhere in the world, and I do, all over Africa, I do these master classes teaching on the business of entertainment, and I talk about this kind of need where everybody wants to flood into Hollywood, and I've all made the mistake because I used to live in my car, so I know all the iterations of Hollywood. And it's like, you come out here, let's say you're from SA. There's a lot of SA artists that I know, especially actresses, that all say like, maybe they've done a Netflix show or something like that. They're like, I want to go to LA. And I'm like, before you go to LA, let's just dominate this market fully. Because when you go to LA, immediately you're paying $2,000 for your apartment.
Right.
You have to probably furnish that apartment. You have gas and electricity that you have to food. If you don't have a car, you're gonna Uber. That's gonna be expensive. Ubering around all these other things. That's just to be like settled, to put your bag somewhere.
Basics.
Then you have to sit there and go, now you need to get headshots done. Now it's like, there's headshot places here that can charge you anywhere from $500 to $800 to get headshots done, right? Then you have to have a demo reel, right? Like some footage that shows that you're a real person. Who's cutting that demo reel together, right? Then you have to put it somewhere. So then it has to have a platform. So there's all these casting sites. You have to subscribe for those casting sites.
Monthly.
Then you have to pay to upload your stuff on those casting sites. This is all monthly things. So, and then maybe you have to be in an acting class.
You got to go out and network.
You have to go on a network. So there's like, these are styles that like, there's this whole thing of like, you have to make money, you have to spend money to make money, which is true. But it's really, really hard now in entertainment to like break in. That's why there's so many people that are really flooding to more of the influencers and things, because if you have a camera now, you have a shot, right? In their mind, a camera and a shot, because it's a lot cheaper than having to go through the real, I would say the grind that trying to be an actor would actually be.
But fuck it, man. I'm still in LA, bro. I'd rather be broke in LA, man.
No, don't say
Yeah,
that.
you say that.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
You see all
Bro, I've
these
been
other
broke in
people?
LA. Bro, I've been broke in LA. Bro. You don't want to do that, bro. What are you talking about? It's not, don't ever say it. No, you do not. No,
Okay,
no,
so
no, no,
This ain't the spot to be broke.
Yeah, bro.
So
Yeah.
we want to play a game with you guys, right? It's a
okay.
segment we have. It's called Asking American. It's the first one we're doing.
Okay.
And we want to ask you guys questions about America, just so you guys can give us some more insight. So I'll start with you, Ghost Lady. What do you want to ask an American, Ghost Lady?
Okay, I'd like to ask with this first of the question. We're talking about the acting and how people have to just work so hard to come up. Do you guys have an issue this side with the couch casting? Like, is that, or is it more that people end up becoming porn stars because they're not getting roles?
The porn stars are making $10,000 a month on the low end. So if someone wants to have me on a casting couch, give me a call. No one has offered me. No. This isn't that. There's a lot of pretty people in LA. Everyone has a gym membership and abs. Everyone in LA this is regular.
It's so.
Is your mic right, man? I feel like
Yeah,
it's a bit low.
it's catching the audio.
Yeah. He's like, I really want people to hear this. Yeah.
He knows, man.
He's like, people back at home.
Oh, yeah.
I am not endorsing the casting. I just don't want people to think that I'm laughing that Denim endorsed it.
Yeah.
What we will say is this: there's certain realities to every industry. I think that it's not necessarily specific to the entertainment industry. I do think the entertainment industry gets the brunt of it because it's still kind of within the vein of emotion and it's sexualized, right? But it's like this almost everywhere in the world. It's in corporates, it's in all these different places.
Yeah.
But I think in Hollywood, there's certain iterations of it. I think oftentimes some people come over here with not the right understanding of what the industry actually is. And there's a lot of people that take advantage of that, right? There's a lot of people that will be there to sit there and say, like, here's my flyer. I'm gonna come and take photos of you at my studio, right? And it will be that. And if you're some maybe new girl coming from anywhere in the world, and they're maybe trying to prove their family wrong back at home, they have a chip on their shoulder, they want to come over here. So you just believe everything. I've been there. I haven't been on a casting couch. Don't get it twisted. I've never been on a casting couch. You have to see me outside. But there's a lot of people, and so the sad part is like there's a place in downtown LA called Skid Row, right? So it's like one of the largest homeless encampments, probably I would dare to say all in the country, right?
For sure.
And a lot of those people are filled with younger people from like 18 to 25, 27 up to 30 that come out here, because what ends up happening is you come out, you go to a lot of these parties, right? Oh, hey, we're at this party. Oh, oh, I have a connection to such and such. Okay, bet. And then all of a sudden they're cutting coke on the, on the table, and it's everything just to get in, right? You do that, and all of a sudden something is happening. You get addicted, and then boom. That's how a lot of them do end up on the other side of the mountain doing porn, right? Because of that. And then the other ones, they just have a kind of a psychotic break because they end up leveraging everything, afraid to go home because they came out here without maybe the support of their family. Yeah. And now they end up, on Skid Row. So it really is for me, because I've been in all the variations. I've lived in my car. I've experienced the whole thing, and I have been scammed so many times. Like on so many different websites where I really felt like, damn, this is my opportunity. I remember calling my mom, calling my dad, and be like, dude, they said I have a great look and a great voice, and then I remember I pulled up, but maybe in like 2011. I remember I pulled up to this one thing. I was on freaking Craigslist, where they're like, yeah, we're gonna come and you'll do like a music video, right? But back in the day, like if you were gonna come and do a music video as like a background, they pay like $50 for like 9.5 hours.
Damn.
Right? Like it's absurd. Like it's an absurdity. But you show up and then you get there, like, okay, cool. Take some photos of you. Okay, now go ahead and take your clothes off.
Whoa.
And you're like, what? Like, no. And then I would sit there and I'm like, because I don't know who they are, maybe they are legitimate, but I just don't want to do that. I would just pretend like, you know what, I just gotta make a phone call real quick, I'll just be right back, and then I would just leave and not come back, right? So I think it's just sometimes
Wait,
people
what
come
do you
out.
think was gonna happen after you took your clothes?
Don't worry about it. I'm not. Would never have it. Like I just because it's. But there's so many of those things. It's not the whole thing, but you gotta know where to go, and you only learn by experience.
Yeah.
And you know, America is the best thing that they do in the world. Is they're the best marketers in the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
the greatest. They're greatest. You guys know you're in Africa. Everybody in Africa. I just want to get to the United States. I'd rather be poor in LA than be poor, you know, in so in Maboneng, right, or in the Cape Town flats. They'd rather be poor there. You don't want to do that because at least, like even in Botswana, you can go all up and down Botswana, you can't find a homeless person.
Yeah.
You can't find a homeless person.
Zero.
Because there's a family, there's a sense of family and community. Somebody's gonna take you. You know what I'm saying? That's not when you go to
that's not a thing
Hollywood.
here.
When you go to Hollywood, bro, that's just where you're at. That just sounds like a you issue. You made that decision.
Penduka, what's your Oscar
Yeah,
American?
Kukwan, but before, you said the people in the porn industry, you referred to them as on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah.
Is that
It's
the
like
porn
this.
area?
It's like this. So like we're on this side of the mountain, and then like Simi Valley would be like on that side.
On the other side of
like
it,
on
yeah.
the other side. So like you take, like I think if, I don't know, logistically if you go up this freeway to the 101 to the 130.
Cahuenga right on up.
Yeah, and you're going to that. That's kind of like where all like the porn offices are.
Yeah, it's it, man.
Yeah, we got to go there.
Yeah, you're like, no, exactly.
on the wrong side of the
That's
mountain.
terrible.
Yeah, bro.
What's the location? What time did you say that they close? What's the name of the people I should avoid when I go over there?
It's cheaper over in the valley.
In the valley,
It's
yeah.
a little bit cheaper. So like, you know, if you can't make it in LA, maybe you can make it in the valley.
Yeah. And it's not that far. It's 15 minutes away.
Right.
Wow.
But it's like being in a whole different world on that side.
Can you tell, like, on the streets that you are in the porn zone now, or
No, it's not the
stuff
porn zone.
that's
It's just
happening
that
in the
it's just the he's like, yeah, just so I'm wandering around. I just want to have, I just want to have an understanding. Yeah. Is there like a Google porn map? No, there's not that. It's just that on the other side, it's just cheaper, right? The cost of living is a little bit lower. And that doesn't mean it's cheap. It just means it's less expensive, like compared to like where you are, because you're right in the middle of Hollywood. Like you're paying to see that sign every day. You're paying to go to hike up this mountain. On the other side, they don't have those types of views.
Yeah.
Right. So that's just where like their offices are, right? But they do it all over the country. You know what I mean? So it's just that's where their kind of main offices are.
What's your Oscar American?
Yeah, man. Guys, I'm very like fascinated, right, with your food and the way you guys eat. Do you know the history of where that comes from? Because you'd be having breakfast, you know, like eggs, for example, or chicken, and then they're gonna want to give you waffles or cream or pancakes with chicken, which is a weird combination for us. You know, where does that strange palate comes from? All like majority of Americans, is that how you guys eat it and enjoy it?
I feel like in Europe they do like pastries and like salty shit. Like in breakfast, like it's like donuts and or like whatever their pastries are and like sausage. It's kind of like a similar version.
But you
Sweet
think about
salty.
it. But think about it. Like in SA, like Botswana, they have Magunya.
Magunya,
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the same. It's kind of the same. They just have that iteration of that is like a waffle, right? Like it's a bread.
But it's everything is sugar.
Everything. The whole country. It's like this. The whole country.
And you guys
is
have it
sugar.
with
That's what I'm
chicken. And they say
That
Can't
part
have
is absurd.
something sweet with chicken.
No, it's too much.
Pastry, that's, you know.
But that's the.
Have you tried the chicken and waffles?
No.
You should try it.
The
before you
idea
go.
of it is like,
No,
I don't
try
like
it.
I don't like it.
You give it a
but-
shot. It's pretty good.
Bro, I'm really worried about your mic, man.
I think
he's the sound guy.
He's like the only thing he's thinking about.
He's the sound guy.
Like the whole time he's like
Is it
just
right
looking
there?
down.
Come on.
Is it?
It's a bit low, no?
right.
Oh, is it low?
Yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Very
All
good.
right, so starting the podcast. So, I don't want wrong. That's the way to go.
Yes,
All right, now let's
cut
go.
you off. You're saying, yes. You were saying, Corey.
Chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles. Go give it a shot. Yeah, because they got like chicken flavored syrup and like apple flavored waffles. No, because you can have like a spicy syrup and an apple waffle. It's pretty cool. Ooh, try new stuff.
Even the
the sake
combination of, I've seen the biscuits,
Yeah.
and you'd find it like for us it's scone. You know, you have chicken and a scone.
Yes.
As a
Yeah,
combination.
proper.
So it's,
So that,
it's so
yeah, it's
strange,
it's
man.
like scones. Like it's like a.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like that, but it's just everything here is just too much sugar. The U.S. it's everything is sugar, right? Like if you go to your grocery store, it's like 90% of your grocery store is just sugar. So it's like, and now you see that in all the iterations. There's this whole thing because it makes so much money. That industry, the sugar industry, is a massive industry, right? And so they just put it in everything, and it's obviously it's highly addictive, And so a lot of people are very addicted to that.
And it's become part of the culture.
A lot of the
Yeah.
manufactured food here has a different recipe stateside than it does
Anywhere in the
internationally.
world, yeah.
They make
Yeah.
it differently. It's like it's got more stuff in it. It's okay.
Yeah, it's still recording.
Is that fast?
Just leave it. It's
Alright,
good.
so
Yeah,
it's
it's
still
good.
fine, yeah?
Yeah, it's good.
Cool.
It's
Yeah.
a friend request.
And then I wanted to ask you, fuck, you were talking about what? What are you talking about now?
The fact
Oh
that
yeah,
it's
I wanted to say, do you think they make all this genetically
modified.
food
GMO.
because there's so much population and they're just trying to feed everyone, but not doesn't mean it's good.
I mean, there's a lot of people here. I mean, is it let people starve or give them something that we made?
Yeah.
If that's the first question, because a lot of food insecurity is very a thing here as well. So is food waste, where a lot of people throw out probably like a third of their groceries, something like that. Like a third of the things that they buy in the grocery store go straight to the trash here. And then also, I think 1 in 5 kids does not have the food they need here. So like that. Yeah, that's
If there's so much wastage, then why aren't people giving away food?
because in America you can sue anyone for anything.
Oh.
So if you have a catering company and you have a bunch of food left over from the event and you have the staff take the food home, but then the food gets one of the kids or the staff people sick, they can sue the company for giving them the food.
Whoa.
And because of that liability, they just don't. And they throw
Okay,
it off.
but if I am able to can't I give away food to like a homeless person, will the homeless person probably sue me if they're sick?
They don't have probably maybe the resources to sue you.
Oh.
But like in a more like
The United States is a corporation,
Yeah.
right? And so the whole purpose of a corporation is to make money,
Yes.
right? And you have shareholders of a corporation, right? And those shareholders have investments, and they have to make quarterly profits. And so you have an incentive to make sure that they're getting quarterly returns all the time.
You're so right, bro. Because when you watch the ads, it's all pharmaceutical stuff.
It's just so right.
It's so
So you get to a place. I think. I mean, for me, there's a difference of me, having grown up here,
Yeah.
but like living
Sure,
back
sure.
in Africa, and now going on my 4th year of living there full time, and having a much different perspective of the way that things are, and I feel much more comfortable over there. That's why you asked me before, do I have any regrets? I'm like, absolutely not. Wish I did earlier.
Yeah.
But there's certain realities that I think is hard. Is like a lot of America is predicated on keeping people in a certain place, right? So there's this like keeping people in the state of addiction, because when people are constantly addicted, you can keep selling them on something, right?
Yeah.
So if we look at any industry, social media, people are addicted to Instagram. They're addicted to
100%.
TikTok.
Yeah.
They're addicted to this. They're addicted to waking up in the morning and putting sugary creamer in their coffee, right? And so what you do is if you do it long enough,
Porn.
if well, no, but you know what? No, but if you but it's funny, it's funny as you're saying it. But that's like a real, a real thing. Like because of that, testosterone levels can because that's like men don't have actual real interactions anymore. Like these are real. Like so, as much as you're joking, like that's no cap. That's a real like massive addiction for people.
Before you continue, she was telling us of a story. One of her girls, right, was having a sexual encounter with the guy for the first time,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
guy said, "We need to watch porn."
Yeah.
For them to continue, and then it dropped, then he had to
It was
change the movie.
buffering.
Yeah, so what it was
Yeah. So you lose.
It was during load
lose
shedding.
erection.
It was during load shedding.
So
Load shedding. Like, damn.
buffers.
We gotta wait. Now we gotta wait 3 hours.
Gotta download.
Yeah,
Download before you get going.
yeah. Then then they'll sell you a pill for that. Or whatever,
100%.
right? As you
Yeah,
were
so
saying.
if you look at the value chain, right, and that's the whole thing. It's a value chain of things because it's like if I can get you hung up on one thing, like for an example, if we talk about the black woman in America, right, what they're sold constantly on what being beautiful is, right? So they've grown up and they've seen figures that don't look like them, hairstyles that don't mimic their hairstyles, magazines that don't acclaim them, embrace them.
Yeah.
And so what does that do to the child that wants to be able to feel beautiful, right? And sometimes getting that positive affirmation from your family is just not enough.
Yep.
When you're going out into the world and feeling like I'm getting it from 8, 10, 12 hours from everybody else.
Yeah.
So my parents, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to give me that.
Yeah.
But they want it for everybody else. So then what ends up happening, they start changing their image and their likeness to try to match other things, but you can never be something more than what you already are, right? And so the whole society has made hundreds of trillions of dollars on that, right? On the hair care, on the this, on the, I mean, look, even in Africa right now, like skin bleaching is a massive thing, right?
Massive,
Look at
bro.
that. I mean, there are women that are literally taking bottles of bleach and putting them in their bottles and soaking their bodies into it
That's insane,
because
bro.
they want to be more European.
Yeah.
Because that's what they have the stigma that that's what's beautiful. That's what our men like. That's what all of these. So it's this constant cycle that I think they get
Even
into.
the
It's hard.
BBLs, I've never understood that. Like, why an African woman would want
It's just it's ridiculous.
Because it's
It's
natural.
already there.
But no, because well, okay, some women are built different.
Yeah.
Like those African, I be seeing them African asses. They don't build them like that over here. They don't
Build
come like that out the box.
They're in a manufacturing shop.
Yeah.
They seeing the asses on Instagram.
Yo, this is so true.
They're like,
This is-
damn, I want one of those, and so you could buy one. To Miami will get you one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that's money.
But
you know?
we so used to ass in Africa, like
Right,
in
nah.
SA, right? That this whole BBL thing makes no sense to me because it's God given. It's like it's
Ashes
really,
everywhere.
yeah,
It's
it's
just-
natural.
it's just
There's a
already
way
there.
more
Yes.
ass in Africa than there is here. Way more ass.
Dun, dun.
No, my question is for the African girls. Why do they wear BBL? I mean,
Well,
I-
are you
I
saying the
American-
African girls or the black girls?
The African
Because
girls.
the black, because the diaspora is large. So like those African asses. When I say African, I mean the asses from Africa, right? Those asses are not the same as the asses from the Bronx.
Yeah.
They're not the same as the asses from Miami, from Chicago.
Yeah.
It's a little different. And they seeing those African asses on Instagram. Those IG asses is getting over
Right,
here.
so the BBL is because they're seeing those asses.
Yes, they're trying to get that ass.
but if you
That's the
see,
shape they're going.
like-
for.
But the African women want that ass.
But
This is confusing.
but it's I think it's but again I think it's all based on perspective, right? Like it's this perception.
Marketing,
that
bro, as you guys
if I
said.
have that, then that means I'm gonna be successful,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
so they
yeah.
see what
It's the marketing, as you said. You talked about it. You did say it. It's the marketing. They are so good in marketing that people over from Africa wants to buy things that they already have. Can you imagine?
What people view as success, and they say like, oh, because they did that, because that's maybe okay. There's this guy, he just booked a movie, and then you see him get a six pack, and then in your mind you think, oh, it has nothing to do with the fact of his hustle, his grind, his talent, his work ethic. It's because he has a six pack. So maybe if I go get a six pack, I'll somehow go and do that. And I don't know that that's the right way to do it.
Cardi B did not get her #1 single till she fixed them fucking teeth. Okay? That's when she got her. That's when her shit went up, when she fixed that grill.
Yep.
There's something to the cause, but not saying, not saying
Well, no,
but
do
something,
but it's,
like,
it's part of the industry, right? That's the thing. It's like, again, it's part of the industry where it's like you have to figure out what position you want to play in this game of the entertainment industry.
So then is someone like Tyler an anomaly? Because she didn't do anything to her body. Like,
Tyler.
she's just natural. Yeah.
Yeah, she's natural. That's why she's winning, because she's got the African ass and she's over here. And that's why she's going up, up, up. Up, up, up. That's what they want. But she's got that's the body type as far as like all the plastic surgery. That's the body type. They're going for the African women. That's the body they want. The people over here, the white women over here want that body type. Everybody, that's the body type that's in right now.
Yeah.
But isn't the Ozempic thing on, like, isn't it popping now?
But that's for like trying to get from like very big to like not so big.
Yeah.
That's like trying to go from like Oprah to like skinnier Oprah, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But African girls have started doing that.
Have they?
Yeah, it's becoming a thing.
Yeah, it was Ozempic.
Like I said, like, whatever America does, our ladies mimic it.
It's because marketing.
Yeah.
It's the marketing. The marketing is so aggressive.
It's crazy.
And so it's like when you're sitting at home, and if that's all you're doing is looking at reality television, Instagram, and seeing what you believe to be celebrities, you have no idea how they even became. And no one could really even identify what a celebrity is. You just say celebrity and think it's this all-encompassing thing, and there's so many iterations of what that is, right? Like if you say you're somebody's an influencer, what are you influencing? So it's like a lot of these things have become very saturated, but the problem is when they're just being fed that all day long and they don't see anything. Like if you look in a lot of countries, especially on the continent, the problem is like they see a lot of stuff online, they see action, opportunities, that's what they think. They see busyness. And then they go outside and sometimes their downtown or CBD area doesn't reflect what they're seeing on their social media, rather it be in New York or Europe or Paris. So they just want to feel like there's a part of that they're able to hold on to, right? And that's oftentimes where for myself, I feel like that's the unsettling thing, I think, is because then you get the young African child that feels as though they need to change their name, image, likeness, everything, and leave the continent to go and find opportunities somewhere else, but they're never going to be accepted where they are. Right? So wherever they're going to go to try to fit in, it doesn't work, right? So I think it's just marketing, and I think if you don't have you have the understanding of how marketing works, and that's the reason why you end up falling a victim to it.
Is there the same chance of opportunity for success, economic, upward mobility, whatever, in SA as there is in LA?
100%. 100%. For me personally, I would say even more so.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's relative to what you want as well.
It's relative to what you want. But for me, and you obviously guys will speak at, you grew up there. The difference of it is in SA is like, it's not an anomaly to walk into a space and see everybody that looks like you, right? That corporates, executives, all these other things. And so there's certain things here in the US that you're always fighting against that you don't have to do over there. But also economically, there's so much opportunity there that it's like they need that. They need, like, I mean, how many people, it's like the amount of land that's in South Africa, right? Like the amount of opportunities, like, I mean, there's new things popping up all the time, right? And so it's like, and the cost of living and what it costs to live in a place like Los Angeles, like that same girl that you're saying that said, I feel like I need $10,000 to live comfortably in LA. Right. If you took $10,000 US a month in South Africa, bro, I don't even.
But are you gonna? But it doesn't. It costs a different thing to live here. So if in South Africa it costs a lot less to do everything. That's great. And
Yeah.
all, but it sounds like the income is also less. That's that.
Well,
They kind of
but
go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also, it's also relative to what you do, though.
No.
Because if you're doing the everyday job, of course, 100%, because you're getting paid in rand, and that doesn't convert.
No, but
right?
he's right, though, because even with us, we have the biggest podcast in Africa.
Right.
But we don't make the same amount if we were American and had the same numbers.
Oh my
we'd
God.
be making 10 times more.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Because of the CPM.
Because they see, right, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's across all industries. That's
100%.
not
Right, and that's the thing, is like, that's why I was saying, I think depending on what industry, like for instance, if you're in agriculture, you're doing import export,
Sure.
that's different because you can set the price. Like, I'm gonna get paid in USD, I'm gonna get paid in euro, I'm gonna get paid in pound. But if you're more localized, right, a coffee shop and this, that, and the third, that's what you're getting paid. You're getting paid in rand. So I think it just depends on what you want, but I personally look at like your quality of life, right? For me, that's important.
Even coming from New York to Los Angeles, I made, if I was bartending, making $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
I came here and it was like 105 to do the same job.
Shit.
At the same, and that's from New York to here.
Right.
Like, so like I imagine that the difference between like here
And
it's massive.
massive.
Yeah.
It's
I don't imagine that
Be
they're
insane.
like, you know what I mean?
Massive. Yeah, be insane.
100%. Because you don't even work like 2 jobs here. Why would you work 2 jobs for peanuts? You know what I mean? But there, 7 jobs, it shows that, yeah, man, guys are making like, the money makes a difference. And also that's why dollar is powerful, because people are putting extra work. And also the rich people there, they're not doing anything because the poor are putting extra work. Damn, it's amazing. Yeah, life.
My question is, why are you guys so rude? Like, you
Like
guys...
all of America?
Yeah, like, there's no Ubuntu. Like, you could go up to someone and say, like, hi.
Ubuntu, isn't that an operating system?
It is. Mark Shuttleworth.
Right? That is an operating system, right?
You just used an African word with the like, what? Because it's in the dictionary. That's why he used it. This guy, he assumed that they know.
He's right. It's an operating system, yeah. Mark Shuttleworth.
Technically, it is an operating system, but it's for people.
Like,
Ubuntu,
Humanity.
it's the Bantu, it's the community of, it's like the us.
I think Linux Ubuntu is an operating system.
But your ancestors created Ubuntu.
like, bro, you could say hi to an American and they wouldn't say hi back to you. And it's so crazy.
It depends on where you are in America.
Okay.
So like if you're in like, okay, so the East Coast is very direct. The South is very hospitable. The Midwest is very affable. And the West Coast is none of those things. But like, so it depends on where you are. Like, you know, in the South, they'll say hi back to you. In the Midwest, they'll also say hi back to you. Because it would be weird there to not.
Because what I'm saying is, it'll be impossible for an African person to walk in now with all these people here and not greet everyone. Like,
It's
hi,
rude.
how are
It'd be
you?
rude.
Yeah.
It'd be rude. Yeah.
And here in America, a
disrespectful.
person can just walk in and just chill.
Like, for
And
example,
still no
in your
pressure.
hoods, do you guys, like, let's say on Christmas or on Thanksgiving or whatever?
So get this, Eskom increases electricity tariffs by around 17% year on year, which means that in 5 years from now, you'll be paying almost double for the same amount of electricity using right now. And as power cost rises, so does everything else. Groceries, petrol, Wi-Fi. But what if there was a way to break free from the cycle? What if you could reduce your monthly electricity expenses and
Yeah. Whatever, guy. Whatever, my guy. So, guys. I mean, I'm enjoying this episode. I don't want to lie. I'm enjoying this episode. It's so fruitful. Yeah, like most of the other episodes of the MacG podcast and chill. Yeah, sometimes they are full of drama and they're full of all that and that, you know. But this one's kind of like, what you say the word? Informative. Not really informative. They're just speaking facts, you know. So it's like, yeah. It's like, yeah. Away, guys. Continue. Let's see what you have. Americas. Yeah. I'm enjoying the life for reals. For real. For real. Yeah, for real. Zao non phone này là anh ba. Em biết chị em sẽ làm đúng cái này cái quả sẽ đẹp biển, cái train. Is terecht van genomen.
Do that.
But it's not an American
It's not
thing.
an American thing. No.
Oh, it's
An
an
African
funeral.
thing as well. I mean, what would you do?
Oh, it's on the Christmas. Okay.
It happens. No, Sol is
it's on the
right.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, he's from the perm sort of. I'm from the hood.
Where are you
So
from?
he's surprised. He's surprised. That's the thing in South Africa.
Right.
Where Christmas is a thing, man.
In Venda.
Okay, where'd you
No,
go?
he didn't grow up in Venda. He's from Parktown.
No, he grew up
He's
in
from
Parktown, yeah.
Joburg.
Oh, okay.
In
Yeah,
Venda
you're
they
doing
do
well.
it.
You're good.
In Venda they do that.
Yeah,
the
he's
guys
living
pick up-
well. He's
basically
good.
the guys pick up the trash.
Yeah.
If they come, it's a day after Christmas. They'll like
Give them a plate, you give them a
give them
plate.
like
Hey, give him a
leftovers.
plate.
and
Yeah,
keep
give him
it
a
No,
plate.
but I understand what
Sure.
he's saying. So, for example, in anywhere in South Africa, if there's a funeral, a black funeral,
That's similar, depending on that's
Where
kind
it
of
is.
that for black people. Not really an
Where
American thing.
yes. For black people.
For
Yeah.
black people here,
Yeah.
that is more of a thing.
So if there's a funeral in the hood, like the whole hood is eating there.
Oh
yeah,
or anything.
depending on whose funeral it was. But like if you were someone who was a member of the community and people knew in the community could pop up to the funeral.
All right, got you.
Sure.
All right, cool. Let's move on to our CEO. CEO, what do you want to ask in American? Bada.
Yeah, I think my question is a little bit more specific to like opportunities, right?
Okay.
So one thing I've realized is black people in America, like, or rather, when we look at the American dream, right, and what we know of it, right, that this is the land of opportunity. So a lot of black people tend to chase opportunities in entertainment. And I read somewhere that as a rapper, or rather as an individual, you have a higher chance of being an astronaut than being a successful rapper, because there's so many people chasing the same dream.
Wow, yeah.
The same goes with
Saturation.
acting as well. So when it comes to opportunities in the American dream, why is it that black people aren't playing in like certain industries? Like, you know, when you look at agriculture and how people are successful there, and people are successful in technology, and people are successful in finance, why do we not see African Americans succeeding in those spaces?
I think it's representation.
Oh yeah, I don't know how deep you guys want me to go with
Let's
that.
go
deep,
Let's
bro.
go
Go
deep,
deep,
bro.
bro.
This is
Deep,
my-
bro.
You're asking a question that's in my this is my purview. So this
do
is
it.
so my
Perfect.
but I'll let you
Grab a
go.
beer there, though.
I'll do my quick
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
No,
we
it's
need a
fine.
beer.
I just say I just chop at the bit. This is a question that's like, oh,
I think it's a big thing about representation. So if you don't see yourself if you don't see you, all the astronauts stateside, you know, growing up, they were all white dudes. Most of the doctors were white dudes. All the presidents were white dudes. You know, if you don't see yourself in this setup, you don't envision yourself being able to do this. Who I saw growing up were rappers and actors. NBA players. That was who I saw.
True.
So I would imagine that it's just that it's really about who it is that you can see. When like Black Panther came out, when that what was the animated Spider-Man movie came out, I was watching these movies and I was with like kids, and the only reason I didn't break down crying is because I was with kids. Because I was like, wow, these kids they see like, they can see Spider-Man, they can see themselves being this, they can be a superhero, and these kids don't see what that's doing for them. But growing up without it and seeing the kids and like what like the representation, like, you know, you can be anything, you can do anything, you know, I would argue that that's why, that it's the lack of what you can
some sort
see.
of conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you have to look at the history of African Americans, right? So you arrive, so based on our education system, I almost liken African American kind of education system to like the Bantu education system, right? Where it was like, it was there, but then it was like, you used the name, it was supposed to be great, didn't help teach anything. Where you're looking at it and you're going, when our first understanding of where a Black person comes from was on a slave ship. It wasn't from Africa, it was just you kind of appeared and you appeared on these ships and you were slaves. Then you got to this United States where you're working and you're building, and some guy came who was a president and said, we're gonna free you, but you can't read, you can't do anything, you have no money, you have no opportunities. And so then you end up having to stay on those plantations as essentially an indentured servant, right? But what we always were, we were always physical beings, and we were always very musical, right? And that is oftentimes how we were able to kind of serenade ourselves and keep ourselves very relaxed, right? So it was the physicality and the musicality that really was able to kind of keep us endured that for all those years. Then what happened was when you started to actually see prominent figures that were maybe attorneys, were maybe getting more into the political arenas and things like that that had opinions, they got assassinated. Oh. So what happens is that when you as the young child start to see, hey, you want to have an opinion, maybe you want to be Patrice Lumumba, maybe Thomas Sankara, maybe you want to be a Stephen Biko, right? Maybe you want to do that, but then they're going to take you out because of that. But then they show this kind of safe route of music and sports and entertainment. That's something we could always do. That's in our DNA to be able to do that. And there's a system that we can live and survive in. So it just became this kind of almost natural progression. And then, like you said, then representation-wise, you don't see anything that says that. Then we had a thing here called, which was Tulsa, right? Which is Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was an all-Black-owned community.
I remember.
Banks. All the whole thing. Yeah. Then that thing got firebombed. Yeah. Right? Why did it get firebombed? Yeah. Because there's billions of dollars circulating within the community.
They don't want that.
They're like, this dollar doesn't leave this community. That's kind of a problem. It doesn't really sit well with us. And then it doesn't exist. So when you're doing that, you have to ask yourself, that was 60, 70, 80 years ago, and we still can't seem to rebuild that. Right? Yeah. And you still can't rebuild. If you look at what in New York City, Central Park used to be a place called Seneca Village, right? That was another Black neighborhood in New York City, right? That then they claimed redlining on, which pretty much said, hey, you guys don't actually have any rights to live here. They took everything away, plowed over it, and now they made it a park. So
you look at a Diddy situation. He wants to buy BT. They're like, nah. We ain't
Well,
having
you
that.
don't need to be buying shit.
Well, you know,
Realistically.
No, but I think what he's trying to say is like
Different awesome. They bought them.
you have,
Yeah.
well, here's the thing, with entertainment, with all these different mediums, I think you always have to be, you just have to be very mindful. I think the hard part with entertainment is the way that I look at things is there's certain things that you just don't say. There's certain things you don't announce. You just do, right? Because sometimes, like some of our leaders that we really love and cherish that were assassinated too early never got to do the job, right? They were talking about what they wanted to do, but it never happened. And so it's like if they see you coming, you're going to get stopped.
But Kanye West did do it though.
But you have to figure out what is the do? And I think that's the question for a lot of people. It doesn't matter, I'm not even talking about Kanye. I think just in general, what is the do? Is the do saying we want to own banks? Is the do saying we want to own land like it is? And you know, of course, like the big thing in South Africa is we want land, and then other people on the other side is, well, what are you gonna do with the land? It's like, well, bruh, that's not your response. Don't ask me about land that's mine, and then it's like you stealing my car. I want it back, and then you asking me where are you gonna drive it? Like, bro, don't worry about it. Like, I'll figure it out. Yeah. But so there's a lot of these different iterations that I think are very, very tough, and I think that we're in a place right now, especially in 2024, where you're like trying to thrive, heal, get reparations in some way. When I say reparations, I don't mean monetarily reparations. I mean acknowledgement that things happened. Right, and I think
I'd like monetary reparations.
Look, I do too, but I just feel like I just feel like that's something that's never gonna happen. And I wish that we would just spend our energy acknowledging the fact that we're never gonna get reparations and focus our energy on things that are actionable. Well, because if you look at it, the African American community in the United States are $2.2 trillion consumers. So it's not like there's no money in the African American community. Yeah. So $2.2 trillion.
That's a lot of money, man.
I mean, that's almost larger than the whole GDP of Africa.
Yeah.
You understand? So when you're looking at that from that perspective, that there is real buying power, right? But it's just about sometimes access to the information. It's not about being stupid. It's just sometimes you don't have the access to the information or the know-how of how to even access that information.
I also think a big driver in decisions, you know, being so disenfranchised for so long, people are trying to make money, and realistically, those are massive economic drivers. Those NFL players, those rappers, these influencers, they're paying for their families. They're bringing in actual money. They're bringing in actual, like, changing the generational path quickly. And so, like, I think, so it's like, yeah, I could go be, you know, a
lawyer.
I could go be a lawyer and make $140,000 a year.
Be paying off student loan debt for the next 15 years, right?
Or I could go be, you know, Jay-Z and then turn into like Jay-Z, or be Rihanna and turn into Rihanna, or you know what I mean? Like But
it's hard because I think the KPI, like I remember when I was like 11 or 12, I remember in the classroom they sat around, they asked everybody what you wanted to be, and everybody's like, you know, I want to be a lawyer, doctor, and that got to me, and I wanted to be a basketball player. Like, that was my thing. Like, I love basketball. And the teacher stopped the whole class, erased the board, and did a whole data analytics of why I would never be a basketball player.
That's crazy.
Right? And it was like, statistically speaking, and 0.6%, and out of 10,000 kids that go to college, only 100 of them get in the NBA, and out of those 100, only 5 of them will start and make money. So do you, it's like, as an 11-year-old, do you really feel like you're that? And you're like, I don't know, I just want to be a basketball player, right? Like,
but she was right in a way, because you're an actor now.
Well, the interesting thing is, for me, I would actually say that I think that there's a yes and a no, but I think that the hardest part about it is there's nothing wrong with pursuing entertainment, but I think that sometimes a lot of people are misguided on the understanding of what entertainment is.
Working with Adobe Acrobat AI Assistant, I'm creating a business of acting manual to help others. A manual of this size would take me maybe a year. With AI Assistant, I can finish it in 4 to 6 weeks.
And how you actually become an artist. I think a lot of times people think like, all I have to do is have a phone and I can be an influencer. All I have to do is have access to a studio and I can create bangers, right? And then I will be a Jay-Z.
Sure.
There's a massive ecosystem that goes, there's a massive industry
of delusion
that goes on that a lot of people don't even understand about how to make things happen. You know?
I think it's because there's no barriers of entry. Unlike with a lawyer or a doctor,
You know
I
what you
for
have to
a
do.
fact
You know what
that
to do.
I need this degree. I'm going to study for 10 years.
Yep.
But with a rapper,
You know,
switch on the mic and the laptop, SoundCloud, I'm a rapper. You know what I mean?
And you don't know, and a lot of people, there's a difference between good and great, and there's you have to be special. And you know, the world doesn't create a lot of special. You know, it creates a lot of really good, right? And there's nothing wrong with good. But there's a lot of people that are chasing something, but they don't, like the entertainment industry, if you look at like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, there actually was a formula of how you could be an actor, right? It was like you knew that if you came out to LA, you had to go get a headshot, right? You had to get a headshot.
Casting agent.
You had to get an agent, right? You had to get an agent, and then at least you knew you had a shot. Like at least you knew, and then you maybe get into an acting class. But then it just becomes a game of numbers.
Right.
As many auditions that I get to, eventually I gotta book one.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can slip and fall and book something. If you give me 1,000, I gotta be able to book 5. Right? Now you have to have a different understanding of what entertainment is. You can't be what we call a one-trick pony, meaning you can't just be an actor.
Okay.
Right? You can't just be an artist,
rapper,
a rapper. What are your investments? Right? Are you interested in fintech? What do you care about? What's happening? Do you have opinions? I don't personally like that, but that doesn't matter what I like. That's the industry that we're in. So as a business, I believe that you have to be two things. You can't be rigid, and you always have to be innovative. And there's a lot of people that are getting very rigid and saying, I want it to be like this. And it's not that. You have to be a business person. So you have to know what the barriers of entry are. Because when somebody makes money, let's say they make $10,000, where is that $10,000 going?
Yeah.
Right? Are you investing it into something? Are you using it to start your own business? Are you reinvesting that money into the business that you're already growing? Or are you using that money because you want to go buy Ace of Spades or whatever and turn up for the gram when that ultimately doesn't do anything? So there's this whole iteration of the ecosystem of entertainment that a lot of people just don't understand, and you won't know until you're actually doing it.
That's crazy, man. Simpiwe, can you grab the mic? What do you want to ask in America? Spiwe. Oh, he's already answered? Okay, cool. Shots, you got a question? Yeah. So, Simpiwe is our sound guy.
What's up,
But he
brother?
said he already answered. What question did he answer, by the way?
Hey.
Oh, the rudeness part. Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange for us, bro. Like, I've said hi to like 10 people. None of them have said hi back. Like,
Nothing,
do
bro.
I smell? Is it the
When
eye
I
chow?
first went to Botswana, I had a very like straightforward mindset. You know, in the Botswana, it's very much like Demelra. And so like I would walk in and be like, okay, hey, so I need this, and this. They'd be like, and they'd be like, Demelra. And I'm like, okay, Demelra, let's get now. All right, we good? We got the pleasantries out of it. Man, let's get to it. So that is, it does take a little bit of time for us to kind of thaw out a little bit because we're very, like, I got to get things done.
Shots.
I want to know about the woman. So the women are like a bit like, like everyone is angry, bro.
Corey can't hear you, bro. See, this is why you fight with Corey.
No, man, like, why are the women so angry, bro? Like, the women are so angry. And the weird thing is, like, we went to this restaurant. They're like, all these restaurants, all the women are friendly, right? And they're waitresses. And they're friendly. And I get that. It's service, right? But when you go on the streets, women, it's like, yo, man, these people are angry. You say hi. They're like, yo, what's up with you? Like, I don't know, man. Like, why are they so angry?
Okay. I don't know about SA or other places, but here chivalry is a little dead.
Ooh.
So a lot of the women that I know spend a lot of time having to support themselves and take care of themselves, and so if you don't want to, it seems like the women I know, because they have to take care of themselves, they don't want to also take care of you. So because like a lot of men don't come, at least this is the take I'm getting from the women in my life. If you come and you don't bring anything to the table, you're just like a son. So I don't want a son.
But what's that going to do with, hi, how are you? What's your name?
Well, I get it, but like instead it's just like, well, just another one who wants to be a son. Next.
Ah,
You know
that's
what I mean?
what's
I
up.
don't-
So what you gotta like show your bank account like when you say hi or like.
Well, I think like it's just I think maybe a little. You need a little bit more swag. You can't just.
So
you
to
can't
you,
just-
like you can provide it.
You lack
Yeah,
swag,
you gotta,
Sean.
you know, 'cause I don't think like they're like nah, fuck you. I think they're more like you're just not interested. So, like,
Damn, bro.
work on your pickup line.
No. I wanted to add on to the question he was asking because he said the ladies who work in restaurants, they seem to be kind. But I think it's because of the tipping culture here, man. Like,
Of course.
You got to tip for everything. Like, everywhere there's like everybody's expecting a tip.
And when you
the
don't
attitude
tip,
changes.
yo!
I didn't tip the barman at the restaurant, right? Because I wanted dash and like 4 cans of water. Didn't tip him, and we were laughing and we we're all good, but up until I chose no tip on the screen. The attitude changed, man. Like, there's a massive tipping culture. Like, where we come from, it's an option. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
There's
yeah.
that thing in the more affluent areas
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
of course,
expected of you.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
But everywhere
10%.
else, you just buy the thing.
Yeah, that's it. Just
Like you
buy the
did
thing
it.
and
Yeah,
fuck
get off. Yeah, yeah.
Especially if some jobs are like just,
Yeah,
it's your
bro,
job,
just
bro.
exchange. That's what you do. Like that's what you do. Do your job. You're getting paid to do your job. Yeah. Stop.
Yeah, the tipping culture, man. It's most jobs like they don't have basics, like payment, salaries.
It's changing. It used to be that you tipped servers and bartenders, and you tipped maybe like your barber, maybe like the cab driver. There was not too many setups where you tipped. Now, I think because inflation, everything's getting so expensive, people don't want to raise wages, so they keep their wages shitty and they add a tip option. So like a lot of employers are not paying their employees enough money and would like you to subsidize that.
Wow.
So it comes
When
from
you're
a
tipping,
need.
when you're tipping like, the Domino's guy when you go pick up a pizza.
Right.
Like I just like
Right,
like
right.
or like
Right.
like you put a coffee in my hand.
That's it.
Yeah,
Why am I tipping?
Yeah.
Like you ordered this thing, so like he came to your table and laughed at your dry joke. You know what I mean? And actually, I'm fucking picking this thing up. Why am I paying for it?
Yeah.
Right.
Even drive-throughs, I've seen like people complain that drive-throughs have tipped. For real, drive-throughs they tip. Yeah, drive-throughs. You got it like there's a tipping option.
That's like a post-COVID thing. It's newer. That it's like it's so rampant. It wasn't this bad before.
Damn,
That's
bro.
wild.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start tipping for podcasts, man.
Yeah, man. They must start
100%.
tipping for podcasts. Yeah. It's crazy,
Hey,
man.
you put your Cash App at the bottom of the link. I'm sure someone will send
What's the
somebody.
Cash App, bro?
Oh, see, okay. So
It's just a link. It's like a link where people can click on it and then just give you money. If you
For real?
Yeah.
Like just.
Yeah. they're
yeah,
just like,
Cash
they
App,
just
Zelle,
do it.
Venmo.
You
there's-
want to tell her?
Oh, you
Sort
want
of,
it? Oh,
yeah,
you want
Yeah,
it?
It's a wallet
It's like,
you
it's like
load
Orange
with
Money or
money,
FNB.
and
It's
then
like that.
you'll send
Yeah,
it.
you just put it in and you send
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
wallet,
yeah.
pretty
So
much.
just throw that down at the bottom of your descriptions. You just extra money might come in,
Yeah, Corey made me do it. Yeah, when I put the link, just remember. Corey made me do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. A lot of South Africans are very upset right now. Like, we're not doing that. Just do the podcast and shut up. Watching, don't do too
Be
much.
grateful.
Like, don't do too much.
That says he cheap.
Yeah, this is chill out.
I want to ask you some questions from chillers, our audience, right? What is the actual difference between Democrats and Republicans?
Ooh, I just was having this conversation with someone. Okay, the quick version. Republicans, this is the thing I don't understand. This is what I don't like about Republicans. If you are like rich, you own land, you have inheritances, you make lots of money, whatever. I understand the concept of being a Republican. Less taxes, smaller government, less that affects you less, right? But what the Republicans have figured out how to do is like make poor people think that they care about them. They've somehow figured out a way to make broke dudes from Ohio. You make $22,000 a year. You make, you live in Kentucky. You make $18,000 a year. And they somehow have gotten these people to believe that Donald Trump, the billionaire, understands and relates to your experience and is looking out for you. That concept is mean to me because there's people who aren't smart enough to understand they don't understand what they're actually dealing with. So they're voting against their better interests. If you are rich and you are Republican, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Democrats don't do much. They're just kind of like lazy. Republicans are a lot more effective. They're way better at governing. Or like they're way more effective at pushing their agendas across. Democrats just kind of, I don't know what, they show up barely.
I still don't understand. So Republicans are the rich white dudes that have been running the country.
But the Democrats are rich white dudes too.
Who are?
They're just like the liberal rich white dudes, essentially. More liberal rich white dudes.
Okay.
So Democrats are more liberal, Republicans more conservative.
Yeah, that would be the generals.
Does it make sense to you?
Fundamental difference.
Explain to me, like in essay, like how would you explain it?
It's like ones are protect the interest of white monopoly capital. Then the others, pretty much. And then the others are pro uplifting the poor people.
That's the Democrats.
Pro abortion, right?
Yeah, more so.
So Republicans. I mean, pro no abortion. Republicans would be more pro abortion.
No, Republicans don't like abortion.
Republicans don't like abortion.
Don't like abortion. Democrats more pro abortion. Yeah.
Wait,
more pro
Trump
choice.
doesn't like abortion.
Right.
Doesn't Trump like abortion?
Right. Right.
Yes. Trump wants to kill the baby.
This is the
simply, right?
It seems like he's probably had one.
Because I've heard a lot of people speak against Trump, speaking that he doesn't. They were speaking for people to have freedom to do whatever they want with their bodies. So I'm assuming Republicans are pro-abortions, and then Democrats pro-choice. Whether keep the baby or not, it's up to you. It's not like it shouldn't be a law.
So yes, pro-choice, but it will be anti-abortion and pro-choice.
Yeah.
Does it make sense to you, Ghost Lady? Democrats, Republicans?
For me, it's my understanding, it's like the same DA, EFF, so it's between that, the one being pro for the poor, the people, and just about, being conscious of what does the country need, like obviously getting back the land and so forth. This is in South African understanding.
Yeah, context.
Yeah, the context. So it's like, and then you've got the DA, which is obviously more economy and basically.
Did you break it down well? Didn't?
Yeah.
Because you've been in the.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough space, right? I think government in general. Unfortunately, I feel like for me personally, I feel like the answer for a lot of people, I feel like you kind of have to look more towards the entrepreneur more than you look towards government for anything. The Democrats, Republicans, they're all self-interests. They all have their own self-interests and their own things that they want. Oftentimes, it doesn't really trickle down to the everyday individual.
Almost never.
Why don't you guys have parties like we do? Like we've got ANC.
Well, no, I mean, it's.
Well, there's more than two parties, but the other couple aren't really.
But I think like everything, it's like, at a certain point, for me, I just kind of came to a lot of realization that it's like your options in life and a lot of these things are like you have to just make more money, right? Like it's like you're never going to be able to vote your way into prosperity. It's never going to happen. And I think that there's a lot that's sold on if you go and check a box, somehow you're going to take that and that's going to turn into your life changing or making it easier. You have a KPI that says that's not true.
I think you can vote in a difference.
I didn't say I didn't say
maybe
difference.
not like a life change.
But I'm saying, saying the way that it's sold.
Sure.
I'm saying the way that it's sold.
Sure.
I don't not saying that there's not. I think it happens at more of a localized level than it definitely does at the top levels. I feel like it's more important to know like who the people that are running in your community, like the school boards and things like that, like the localized things, because those are the ones that are on the ground every single day.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more impactful at that level because I also think that when you're getting into presidents and things like that, that oftentimes their focus is on so many other things outside of just the country itself, right? It's world politics, right? It's currency politics, it's economics, it's trade, it's import, it's export, and they're usually not thinking about the person that wants a little bit more money on their minimum wage. They're just not, because they've been, especially in these politics, there's a lot of what we call lifetime politicians, which is like you entered into as a senator at 18 years old and now you're 78 years old, which means you've never like had to like, unless you wanted to, you never had to like chauffeur, you drive a car, you don't have to go grocery shopping. You have a whole setup. You're so disconnected from reality, right? But those are also the same people that also kind of get in front of you and also try to lecture you and tell you that they understand what you're going through. And it's like, based upon what you do for a living, it's actually impossible for you to know what we're going through. Right?
Are African nations also, are they also like gerontocracies ran by old people?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
We
same.
can't wait for them to die, bro.
Right.
Right. We can't wait for
But it's tough because a lot of the systems, but like everybody's on a European system, right? Like,
which doesn't work for Africans.
And it doesn't work. It's diabolical in Africa. Here, that's what the country was kind of founded on. Africa was not founded on European principles. And so it's far more challenging because a lot of these presidents and these lifetime politicians
corrupt
are with that European set. So they have a vested interest in keeping that system alive. And Africa is the youngest continent in the world, right? I mean, there's some countries in Africa where the average age is 19 years and younger. Like, that's how young Africa is.
Oh, interesting.
So they're not interested in watching a 75, 78, 80-year-old person sit there and talk to them about things that they have no idea about. So it's just a very different kind of topography, right, on the
100%.
continent than it can be anywhere here.
Yeah. Well, I've got a question. Speaking of politics, and this may be maybe too much expectations on the guy, but did Barack Obama's presidency do anything for black people in any way?
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of things. I think Barack Obama's presidency did things for black people all over the planet.
Wow.
Realistically.
Come on, not in South Africa.
I mean, I think that, because that's a powerful seat. That was a nigga in the highest office.
True.
Running
Most
around,
powerful in the world.
Right. You know what I mean? Like running around militaries, cruise ships, white people.
No, I'm not talking about I'm talking about like tangible stuff within America, not aspirational. He was a great example for us, and you know what I mean. But like tangibly, on the ground for black people, yeah. And like I said, maybe it's impossible to have expected that from one man, but that was an expectation.
Obama was president from when I was like 12 to 8. He went to war. He bombed a lot of people. I don't know if that's good.
Obama came.
He's Obama after all.
Yeah.
What did you say? What did you say?
He's Obama.
He said he bombed a lot of people. Right? He got Bin Laden as well, right?
Right.
I mean, for black people, so it doesn't sound like he did anything to move the needle.
Black people. He didn't go and write some legislation for black people specifically. No, he did not do that. But no one would have expected him to do that.
But it's all a face. I mean, there's no way
with their rib cages showing. You would assume that people don't have, that there's no skyscrapers.
So that's
you would
all
assume
they
that
show
there's-
you?
Literally. Wow. And I don't have cable,
Yeah.
but all the that's pretty much all they
So
show
this
you.
day, I thought this was used to be.
Yeah, because it's social. Like,
No, it's the
We
black
get it. It's empty.
and
You know, they have to bang it on the table.
in America, it's like it's like slave movies. The kids with the rib cages and Wakanda.
that's it.
That's it.
So at school, they know about like what's going on in Africa. Like,
No.
Shit, bro. That's
Not even kind. The only time Africa pops up in like the new is or like it's war torn.
Yo,
it's like Baghdad. That's like that's like the American media. Media representation.
so when you see like a Tyler, Black
Puffy, Trevor Noah? Like, are you like?
I mean,
Where did
they're
they come from?
Yeah.
Which Africa are they from? I feel like curious.
Because they look fed.
Where's the ribs? Papa's ribs.
Prove it.
I mean, they. It's funny because that's a great question.
Yeah.
And like as a black person, as an educated black person, I'm aware that this is not what I see is not what I'm getting.
Of course.
Is that what I'm saying? What I see is not what is. But yeah, then that's a that's a good question for people who think that it's all starving children.
It's
Yeah.
just it's great.
marketing.
It's great marketing. Right. But the reality of it is if you so there's a guy, his name was Willie Lynch. He was famous. I think it was Willie Lynch wrote his letters in 1618, I think it was, maybe. Don't quote me. It was somewhere. Willie Lynch was a famous slave master. Right? And there's the letters. Everyone can go and look up the letters of Willie Lynch. And Willie Lynch essentially wrote a letter of how you combat and break the black man and the black woman. Okay. They're called the Willie Lynch letters. They brought them from the islands. He had a very popular slave plantation. They brought him over to the United because the slave masters are like, these Africans are over. We're here tearing this up. And we don't know how to get them under control. What do we do? So he was known as the person to break the black man, to break the Bantu. So they bring him over, and essentially he writes this dissertation about how you break them. And one of the first ways that you break them is you take them off of the land, right? So take them off of something that's familiar from them, and you cut them from their language, right? Ooh. So once you take them away from their land that's foreign, then you cut their language, so now they have no semblance of where they come from. Now, that's not going to happen in the first generation, but it will start to happen in the second and the third generation. So by the time we get to the fourth generation, you have no ideological understanding of where you even come from, language, culture, tradition, history, nothing. It's all gone. The fascinating thing, and he talked about how you pit the black man against the black woman, how that's going to change the psychology. For an example, that what you're going to do is you take the strongest black man, you kill them in front of all the other black men, right? And that will then de-incentivize the other black men from wanting to stand up, because the women will be afraid that that's going to happen to their men. And then what happens is that then the slave master then comes and gives the woman money. And so after a while, the woman will start to look at the slave master as somebody that's protecting her. So then she will start to change the way that she views her own man, because of the slave masters. You almost look at the slave master as like the state or government.
Okay. But the most fascinating thing about this was what they said was, but what you have to be very careful of is that you can never give them anything that reminds them of home, because the brain has a very magical ability to reset itself if it can ever touch something that reminds them. So because it's in our DNA, right, already of where we come from, that if you were to ever give somebody a feeling, a touch, a fabric, everything in your body essentially would reset itself. Jeez. So you don't really remember, you re-remember, right? You don't really learn anything, you're just re-remembering something.
Wow, bro.
So I personally believe that the reason for that marketing is because if you were to start to get more African Americans with $2.2 trillion worth of purchasing power, right, larger than the entire GDP of the continent, and European Africans and Caribbeans that are now going down back to the continent, because there's 54 countries in freaking, on the continent. You'll find a country that fits for you. Right?
Yes.
It might not be South Africa, it may not be Botswana, right? But it could be Burundi, Congo, Ghana, Nigeria. There's so many you get. San Tome, Mauritius. But I believe that if you were to go back and see something, smell, taste, feel, ground yourself, that your body would reset. And I personally believe on more of a spiritual level that they just want to make sure that never happens, because we make too much money here. We're the culture setters of the entire world.
Yeah,
and
bro.
what could you do if you no longer have the culture setters of the world? Who is pushing the trends around the world? That's why people want to come to the United States, because they want to be like the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, the LeBron James, the Jay-Z's, the Kanye West, the Alicia Keys, the Beyoncés, the Rihannas. Those are the people that they want to be like. But imagine if those people...
Yes. Elon Musk. Elon fucking Musk.
So you come back and you see that's the opportunity. So for me, at a visceral level, I believe that's the reason why you're cornered there. They would rather have you fly over the continent to go to Dubai, fly over the continent before you're ever even thinking about, maybe I should land there and see something.
Jeez, man. Fucking
Wow, bro.
hell. Yes. I nailed it, bro. Yo.
Actually, just a question that I had. So what I've observed with the American culture, and you see, when in SA or even Africa as a whole, people have tradition. So you know, like, okay, you're from this tribe, or
This is how we do
this
things.
is how we do things, and there's this thing of like this general tradition and knowing where you come from.
Like if you're pregnant, you can't say it for
For a period of time.
Yeah. So
Your friends will first see you.
That one you know. I love out of all the traditions. All the traditions that he could have picked, that was the one that he like. For example, for those that are listening at home.
Just an example.
So what I'm looking at here in America, and I just want to ask you guys, has the strip club culture become like normal tradition? Because it seems like what I'm viewing from the Black community is that it's just the twerking culture, and it's replicated, whether it's moved from just being like something that's private in the strip club, but now it's a social. It's how people like
Interact.
have fun, and that's it.
That's crazy, bro. At the BET Awards yesterday, they had 5 4-year-olds twerking and performing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, that was like, hey, man. And also, it was so strange, man. Like,
Is there a lack of tradition
was
and
strange.
just
So there's like a two-piece question. Is there a
Okay.
lack of tradition? Yes, because everyone comes over on slave ships. As we just had our lesson, things are you lose your history.
Yes,
So then
yes.
there is a Black American history that is about 400 years old,
Okay.
about 450 years old or so. That has traditions in it. Then we talk about representation again. So like that's the representation that you're seeing of American culture. Just like how we're getting the starving African kids, you're getting the strip club.
Yeah, all black people.
It's
You don't get the suburban black
You're
family
like there's
father and mother solid.
Nuclear
there's
family,
black
yeah.
lawyers, there's black NASA, there's
Black astronauts.
yeah, these are all a thing. Everyone isn't a drug
But
dealer, or a
sexualization-
rapper,
sexualization-
or a
Yes.
pimp,
Sexualization
or a
sells.
basketball
Right? Like, so
player.
that's, it's
Right.
the low,
Right.
it's the
So
low
we in the
hanging
system
fruit.
as well. We
It's
just,
just a,
Yeah,
it's
it's just a flip.
Yeah, sexualization sells. It's a low hanging fruit that nobody has to think about, and that's how you make money, right? That's just what they do, But like you said, there's very successful, affluent lawyers and people on Wall Street and bankers and things of that, but that doesn't have any sex appeal, And again, you have to look at the way that the world has been built. It's built for like an online presence, right? This bubble eventually will pop, and I think it will reset itself in some variation that will split somewhere in the middle. But I think it's a very intentional reason for that type of representation, because sexualization within the Black community in general has always been very, very profitable for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Want black.
And I think that also becomes an easy entry point for a lot of people, because it's like, okay, if that's what I have to do to maybe be successful, let me just go and do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's just hard, because I think, like you said, like we have the own African American type of history, but a lot of it was built off of ideals and understandings that were not from people that look like us, right? Like those were like, hey, this is what you do now. And it's like, but it was never based on anything. It was what they did. And so we adopted them. Then we're trying to find, and I think that's where it kind of is right now. Like you say, like the Black community, the question that I would ask is like, what is the Black community? Like when you're saying the Black community, I say like, point to me. Like if you say like what Hollywood, you can point to Hollywood. You can, you know what it is.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the Black community, I think that's the hard part. You're like, what is the Black community? When you're saying the Black community, is it twerking, right? Is that what the Black community is? Is it the basketball player? Is it the athlete? Is it the
hood?
Is it the hood? Is it soul food? What I mean? Is it the banker? Is it the astronaut? So I think it's those types of things that it's like, it's still trying to figure out what it is. It's still very, very new. And I think that you're now kind of seeing a different change.
And it's disparate. America is big. Black people in middle of Florida have a very specific culture that is very different from niggas from Philly.
damn.
Than from niggas from LA. New York. Like these are all different.
Man, Corey, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thanks for
Even
having me.
Denim, thank you so much
Thank
for your
you,
time
Jen.
as well, man.
This was so dope.
Beautiful, man. Yeah.
I don't know if you got any last questions before we wrap it up, Ghost Lady. Paducah.
I think, for instance, okay, when we talk about just how obviously you have the Africans, us the Africans who have misconceptions about the Americans, like, this conversation was good. The same thing with the Americans having their misconceptions about Africans.
Right.
So I think maybe a solution is using social media to actually like just
Bridge the
follow
gap.
people.
Bridge the gap.
Yeah.
Follow people, maybe influencers in Africa, just to
Right.
see Africa for what it is, instead of whatever that's perpetuated by that you see on TV and just starving kids, and that's all. So I think already as like Africans, we view like America and already copy what's happening this side. But I think maybe it's also like just imploring like Americans to actually like dig deeper and find people to follow and just.
It's gonna take generations, bro.
Well, I think
we won't be alive.
It's
to
just
see
an
that,
interest,
bro.
right? Like I think I think right now, to not be informed about Africa in any way. I mean, there's people that still think that Africa is a country,
No.
right? With social media, with the people that know things that are so far beyond, like in other people's families, but they don't know 5 countries in Africa, right? It's less about the not having access and more of the desire, because I think everybody, it feels like worldwide, is trying to like survive and thrive. And I think they're trying to figure out like, how is it going to be profitable for me? And I think that, yes, there's going to be iterations of certain people. You talked about it before, how there's a lot more African Americans that are moving to Africa, but that's because there was a genuine interest.
Desire.
They sought for information. They were seeking it out. They were going online. They were YouTubing. They were Googling. They were doing. There was a true, and then they bought a plane ticket.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like the difference of saying they're going like, oh, it's so expensive to go to Africa. Like, it's the same expense that it would take for you to go and get brand new Jordans in a jersey as it is buy a plane ticket to Africa. Trust me, I know. Right. Obviously, when we're talking from the Africa side to come over to South Africa to try to get a visa. To come to the U.S. It's absurdity. Right, like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's ridiculous. But if you want to have the access to information, the information is available. But I do think that we're starting to see iterations of that. But yes, I think like you said, it's a generational thing.
Yeah,
you know? And I think that
we're not gonna
we just have to be patient with that process. But it is, you know, we are where we are, and I think we're in a good step because we're have the #1 podcast in Africa here, having a conversation saying like, hey, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna ask the questions, and we're gonna be here. We're gonna invest in that, and maybe there might be 1 or 2 children that sit there and go, I want to do that and do that. And if that's something works and builds a family and opens up an economy, then that's a win. You know, you can't have everything.
For me, it's how the white person, I don't even see it as African and American, whatever.
No.
For me, I see it as how they were able to divide, like, and conquer. A whole, like, black people, you know what I mean? Because if you look at it, right? So let's be honest. I mean, African Americans look down on Africans, right? And then when you get into Africa, then you have South Africans who look down on other Africans, right? And then you
On
get,
other South Africans, even.
and then you get into South Africa, then
And
you
then
have,
they want to be different country in South Africa. South Africa wants to split itself as
then
one
you have
area.
Zulus who look down on vendors. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's just like a whole divide.
And then you've got rich blacks look down on poor blacks.
It's tribalism.
Yes,
It's
Even within the same tribe.
But the reality of it is like that's it's called. So there's the Bantu proverb that when two brothers fight, a stranger inherits the land. You continuously, as long as you can continuously find these small things, right, to always be divided. That's how you do it.
That's a
right?
good one. When two brothers fight, a stranger inherits the land.
That's a word.
He's like, I'll have some of that. I'll have some of
And that's
that.
the thing, right? Like if you look at it and you sit there and go, okay, this person, you do spoons and you do forks. Why would you guys trade together? You could just kill them and you could have spoons and forks. And they don't have anything. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. And here's weaponry to do it. Right? Like, it's like, that's how it is. So I think it's a generational thing because I believe that it's going to take very tactful individuals that can do it much better than they are saying that they're going to do it because action matters. And I think, especially on the continent as well as in the African American community, we need to have more actionable things that are happening. I think we've done a lot of talking. I think talking is great. It's entertaining. It's exciting. But then once you're done talking, you have to go do the action. And I think that this next generation of children are going to be the ones that are going to be holding us accountable because they have the access to the information that says, hey, I remember when you did that podcast and you said you were going to do that. And now 2 years later, this is where you said it. Whereas when our parents were alive, there wasn't any of that, right? So I think there's a different level of accountability that I believe is going to happen. So I think the next couple of generations, I think this is what it's on. But I believe that we're kind of the forefathers of what that next generation is going to be, specifically on the continent.
What was that white guy? That white guy fucked us up, man. That guy
With
was
Lynch? No, not Willie Lynch. You mean Willie Lynch is here? In the U.S. Willie Lynch. And I would look at the Willie Lynch letters.
The letters,
When they say someone got lynched, is that where it comes from? Like,
yes, they named it after him.
Yeah, lynching on the
Because
street.
one of the first things that he said when he got to the U.S. when he saw black bodies hanging from the thing is he was lauding the fact that there was bodies, but he was like, you were wasting good crop, right? So he's like, all these bodies hanging from trees, and he's like, because you have to remember, our lynchings used to be like they would send postcards out to people. They would be on a postcard, like, hey, Johnny, such and such was just here, and and they would be on a picture of a black man hanging in the back. Everyone taking selfies, right? Like with the black man hanging in the back, with his private parts cut off and shoved in his mouth. Right? So you
you have to understand. So there's these iterations. It just is what it is, you know. And I think that the problem is that we try to kind of play off on some of the psychological nature of what that does. But same thing in Africa. Right? When you're looking at other things, if you look at what was happening during apartheid and all these other areas, I mean, hell, look at what's happened in Congo. Right, you had 25 million Congolese men, women, and children under King Leopold that were murdered, and they never call it a genocide. 25 million. Look at what's happening right now in Congo. Right? But so it's these types of things, and I think even in Africa, you know, it's like what's happening in Africa right now, South Africa and Zimbabwe, and what that whole culture clashes and this, that, and the third. It's like, I feel like it's entertaining to a certain degree because it's, you know, sometimes, but it's really a detriment to what we're trying to do. And I just don't believe that we're ever going to get to where we want to if that's what we're going to be focused on.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, we have some ways.
But
I think next time you're in LA, not in LA, in stateside, go to DC and go to the African American History Museum.
Okay.
It's really, really cool. And it goes from like the slave ships and where they came from and comes up and through like, it's like maybe like eight levels or so. And like, you know, and it takes you through the history and it goes from like the slave ships through like, you know, the plantations through like
the undergrounds and all that.
Jim Crow up to like Beyonce and Rihanna and Barack up at the top. And it's a really cool experience that I think
come back.
we'll check out. Come back. Come back.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, cool, man. We're out here podcast and chill. Boom.
Bye.
Yo, thank you.
Perfection.
Welcome to Black Excellence. Do not fear, for if you do, just sip on some grandeur. And if you still do,
that's it from us. That's it from us. Check you out in a bit.